Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are looking at another devblog for the upcoming major update in War Thunder, and this time it's the first ground vehicle that has been in a devblog, and also an anticipated one for years at this point. This is the PGZ04A. This is going to be China's first radar-guided AA that is coming to the game. Finally, the prayers have been answered of Chinese players who haven't had a radar-guided AA for the longest time, and it is absolutely lovely to see. Thank God there is something now in the Chinese tech tree that can complement the pretty fun high-ranking lineup with a little bit of AA firepower. There's also some other nice little tidbits about this vehicle, and hopefully will open up China to more players as it goes along. Let's get into the history of the PGZ04A. In the late 1980s, Chinese engineers began working on another self-propelled anti-air vehicle. This was in order to meet the demand of the PLA for a replacement for the towed AA batteries that they were using at the time to engage low-flying air targets. The first prototypes were designated the Type 92 and also the Type 93, and having their general design resembling the Italian Sedan 25, which we already have in the game. And thanks to its much simpler design, the prototypes passed testing relatively quickly, which led to a vehicle entering service in the 1990s, which was under the designation the PGZ95. Another vehicle that we could definitely see in War Thunder at some point. And then shortly after entering service, modifications were carried out to arm the PGZ95 with 4 IR-guided missiles, and they were basically mounted above each of the guns, and this was to extend its range and increase its effectiveness as a vehicle. As a result, the PGZ95 became more capable to the Soviet Tunguska SPAA, and the modified PGZ95 was shown off to the public in a military parade in 1999. A decade later, during another military parade in 2009, a further modification of the PGZ95 was revealed to the public. The new vehicle was designated the PGZ04A, and it featured more capable IR missiles and an improved fire control system, among other improvements. This version of the vehicle still serves with the PLA to the present day. So one thing that China has been missing for a long time is a high-ranking radar-guided AA, or any real AA to be talked about. The only one which is comparable right now in the game is the WZ305 for China, and that is only comparable once you get the proximity shells for it, and those are not exactly easy to get because they're a rank 4 modification, and also it's an end-of-the-line vehicle. With the introduction of the PGZ04A, now at rank 7, it will probably come after the WZ305, so therefore it will make that easier to research, meaning that players will have not just one effective AA, but now another effective AA, and also it will be easier to grind to become a better AA in the form of the WZ. That is why it is so important for China to get the PGZ04A now. Another thing to also mention is recently, with the addition of more weaponry such as Mavericks, it has become very, very obvious that China is really lacking in the anti-air department. You basically have to use planes in order to defend in these battles when it comes to China against its enemies. And the problem with doing this is, first of all, you have to get the spawn points for the planes to be useful, and also at the same time that means that you have already had to die, or you've already had to commit a ton on the ground and get killed anyway, meaning that you are at a deficit when you are fighting your enemy when it comes to SP and all of that good stuff. So the PGZ now gives an option for China that never existed before in the game for it, and all I can say is that I'm happy for that. China is a tech tree that can definitely be looked at and say that it has got a lot of development over the last 2 years, and I'm very happy that is the fact. It is quite a fun tech tree, especially at high tiers, with a lot of very unique lineups and pretty interesting vehicles. And it also is one of the tech trees in the game that has a ton of opportunity for expansion. There is so many different Chinese vehicles. There are so many different and interesting, unique Chinese vehicles. It is nice to see some of them be shown off. You know, we've had recent additions like the PTL02, then also even the CM25, the PTZ as well, which is a fun machine. And now we're getting even more of their unique and interesting designs. And to me, that hopefully will get more people playing China, since it is a really fun grind through it, since you get a lot of American and USSR vehicles. I understand that a lot of people are put off by the copy-paste nature, but hopefully with more machines like the PGZ04A, there will be more impetus to play it, because, well, it ain't copy and paste, it is a unique vehicle. Now, this vehicle is actually armed with 2 different types of weaponry. The first one is the 25mm. These are set up in a quadruple mount, so you get 4 25mm, which is a hell of a lot of firepower for a machine like this. Basically, they are the same 25mm that you find on an earlier machine in the Chinese tech tree, the ZSD63 SPAA, which is actually a very powerful AA. The only issue with it is its clip size, and I'm sure with these quad 25s that's probably going to be the issue as well. It's going to have issues when it comes to general ammo, but then again, there are a lot of AAs at this tier which don't have a ton of ammo as well, so I don't think it'll be that crazy. As long as you pick your shots well, as long as you know when to shoot, you will be completely fine. Now, the issue with the 25mm at this rank is the fact that the effective range is around about 2.5 kilometers, which when you're talking about dealing with stuff like Mavericks, or when you're talking about dealing with stuff like helicopters, or when you're dealing with stuff such as AGMs, which are very popular around this rank at this time, what you end up dealing with is a lot of stuff that will outrange you. So luckily, the PGZ04A has access to IR missiles as well. These IR missiles are the HY6. It gets 4 of them to be able to use, and these are basically IR guided missiles which have a fire and forget nature. So once you lock onto the target, once you fire, you don't have to guide it in or anything like that. It will just do it for you. If you want a best comparison to something that is already in the game, the best comparison I can give you is to the Saddam Mistral. That's basically what this machine is, just Chinesified with a Chinese hull, Chinese weaponry, and Chinese radar. So the general playstyle of it will be very similar to the Saddam Mistral, which has very effective missiles and also pretty rapid firing guns as well if anything gets close. So I'm very happy to see the missiles on this. They do have an effective range of 6 kilometers, so it will still get outranged by some stuff, such as certain helicopters and also certain stuff such as Mavericks on the A7D, which I'm sure will get expanded at some point as well, but it does mean at least China has an option where before they just did not. It just did not exist in the game. Now, also, the chassis that this thing is on, it only has up to 15 millimeters of thickness, so you're probably going to get affected by overpressure, meaning that if anything lands anywhere near you, you're going to die. That kind of sucks, but, you know, it's an AA, what do you expect? And because it is quite light, though, because it doesn't have a ton of armor on it, it actually has a decent-sized engine at 383 horsepower and only 22 tons, or nearly 23 tons of combat weight, so it can actually motor around the place at 55 kilometers an hour, which is pretty good for an AA. Now, it depends what actual ammo they give these 25s. We see with stuff like the Saddam that they get like a small kind of APDS belt, which is very good against ground vehicles, especially in the side of them. And then they get more of a standard AA setup as well when it comes to the rounds. If they do something similar to the PGZ04, then or 04, then it should be good to go. It should be a lot of fun. We'll have to see how it goes, because a lot of these top tier AAs, the ADATs for example, or even the Tunguska, kind of double up. So they're very good against aircraft if the aircraft don't see them coming, but also they are very good at the whole track and barrel torture thing, as many people have talked about. So just rat-a-tat-a-tat at the start or at the front of a tank and just hope for the best, and then once its barrel's taken out, you can go around the side and then smash it. Hopefully this radar is good, hopefully it is a good tracking radar. After using a vehicle recently, the ZA35, the ZA35 has an insanely good radar for the machine that it is. And it is just incredibly fun to use and shoot down planes and stuff. And with the amount of volume of fire or ammunition that you're going to be able to put in the air with those 25s, anything that comes within probably 2 kilometers of this machine is going to get annihilated, just like it does a Saddam. This is a proud day and a very happy day for the Chinese player base of War Thunder, and a long expected day as well. It took a little bit longer than expected to see a radar guided AA, but it is still lovely to see. I can't wait to see this in game. Yes, it's going to be rank 7. Yes, it's probably going to be 380,000 RP or something similar. But at the end of the day, it will be worth it to be able to increase that top tier lineup that China has already. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank BRFC, Swollen Ostrich, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe A, Conte Baraka, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Lafouche, Barine, and Samuel Schlick for supporting the channel.